welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Siriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing good. It is officially summer vacation for us. We finished up our finals. I finished on Tuesday. I believe you finished on Tuesday as well, but we are back to 2 episodes a week on Above Replacement Radio.
Yep. Yeah, we're back at it, doing these midweek shows, so that if something happens on Monday, we don't have to wait an entire week to cover it. So that's always
right.
Nice. But yeah, not, kind of an average midweek show. We're about to have some headlines, not a ton, but some. And I guess we can get right into it. The biggest headline is Jacob deGrom on the IL with apparent right side tightness. I believe he missed a start due to this at one point, and made another start and came out of it because of that. So kind of I guess not, nothing to panic about yet, but nothing you like to see.
Certainly not. I mean, Jacob deGrom is obviously the best pitcher in the league. And I think this is crushing for the whole league. I mean, obviously the Mets need him, even though they've won 7 straight, which is kind of funny, considering they don't have their ace. You know what? The Mets have won 7 straight with deGrom gone. You know who loves that is the he can't win, so he's bad crowd.
Yeah. I mean, like, it just so happens that they score like 1 run a game for him.
Yeah. It's funny because they scored 2 runs in the game where he got hurt, and it's like they traded a deGrom start for 2 runs. And unfortunately, this doesn't look too serious right now. I think it's only just like he's gonna miss a couple turns through the rotation at best, but it shouldn't hurt. It shouldn't hurt the Mets on a long-term season scale. It shouldn't hurt his like Cy Young chances or anything because he's having a historic season right now. I mean, I guess that's most of my takeaway.
Yeah, and right side tightness, it's kind of general. I think that might be, they haven't mentioned anything about the arm, the shoulder, or elbow.
Yeah, that's what you want to stay away from.
Yeah. So, luckily that hasn't come up yet. I don't know what they mean by side just in general. It might be like an oblique issue, but you never know. And I guess they're being sort of vague for a reason, because you don't want to set off any fireworks with something that can be taken out of context. But yeah, that's the Jacob deGrom situation. We wish him well, and hope
it is very funny that the Mets start winning as soon as he goes down.
Yeah, like
if they've won 7 in a row, they're in first place in the division. Like, things couldn't be looking better for the Mets, except for the fact that they don't have deGrom.
Yeah, and actually that makes me curious to see
Taijuan Walker, that's the answer.
What their record is when he starts. So he has a 3-2 record. He has
I can look at the Mets record in his starts.
They're 3-3 when he starts.
That's so funny.
So there are 5, yeah, and it's fun because when the winning streak started, weren't they 13-13?
I believe so, but he did start one of the games in the win streak.
Okay, that's true. He started on a Sunday.
Which, I mean, granted, they faced the Diamondbacks and the Orioles for a majority of it, I believe. So it's not like they're world beaters right now. But I mean, 7 in a row is 7 in a row, especially in what has looked like one of the weakest divisions in baseball, which is kind of weird considering they had a lot of playoff teams. I mean, I think The Mets have the like lowest record of any division leader right now, I believe. I could be mistaken just because of the win streak, but
I'm trying to think. They
I
definitely
know like
were
a
like
few
a
weeks
week
ago the
ago.
Phillies were like 500 in first place. The Mets are 18-13. Yeah. The they do in fact have the lowest winning percentage of any division leader.
Yeah.
No, they don't. I'm wrong. They're two winning percentage points ahead of the Red Sox actually. The Mets are 18-13. The Red Sox are 22-16. Red Sox have a 579 winning percentage. The Mets have a 581.
Yeah.
So the Phillies are also a game behind them.
Uh, yeah. Yeah, because they're doing. I think did they do well against the Braves? I think they played them like over the weekend or.
They did. They did. The Braves did have a couple. They had. I think the Braves did win the series though. Actually, either that or.
Okay.
Yeah. But the run differentials are hilarious. By the way, the Mets have a +4 run differential. The Phillies are -1. The Braves are -17. The Marlins are in fourth with a +10. And then the Nationals are in last with a -24.
Yeah. It's weird how it's panned out so far, but yeah, NL East forever pretty interesting, especially when you don't have the Braves performing how you would imagine they would perform. But
Yeah, I mean, especially with the Soroka news, we didn't even put that in the prep sheet.
yeah, there was a setback with his Achilles, right?
Yeah, he's getting like another. Was it another surgery?
Yeah, they called it an exploratory surgery
Yeah, I wanted to say elective surgery, but that didn't sound right.
to see what was wrong. Which you don't know how much that can set a guy back. You know,
It,
Achilles injuries in pitchers is pretty unusual. So
well, I mean, he had a freak accident on the mound one day, and that's kind of been the whole thing. It's not like this was like an underlying thing that just gradually, grew worse and worse. I mean, like there was just one really awkward play with his leg that kind of led to all this.
yeah, but it's unfortunately it's something that can linger over time
Mm-hmm.
after the injury is already there,
Yeah.
which
And
is
that's
tough.
kind of what's going on. And I mean, it's not like anyone else is doing him any favors in the rotation. Max Fried has sort of been underperforming. Ian Anderson has some walk issues, but the strikeouts there, and he's had his moments certainly. Charlie Morton's going to today, and he's been all right, but I think he's been getting kind of unlucky. And there's been Huascar Ynoa, who's been the best pitcher in the rotation through the whole year, and maybe the best hitter other than Acuna.
Yeah, it's funny how that's worked out. But yeah, so like there's not really a reference point on because with when there's arm or elbow uh, when there's arm or elbow issues, I made issue. I was about to say issues instead of I
There
combined
is an E in that word though, so
issues and
you're not
injuries.
technically wrong.
Yeah, but there, when someone has an arm or elbow issue, we have a reference point. We don't really have a reference point with a guy who blew out his Achilles on the mound. We don't really see that all the time, so we don't really know what's going to happen with Soroka. Kind of weird. There haven't really been many injuries like this.
The Braves have a 0.9 wins above replacement on their starting rotation, according to Fangraphs. That is fourth worst in the majors and third worst in the National League.
Yeah, they just don't have the.
That's
They
been,
just
yeah,
they just haven't had good health.
they haven't had good health and they just haven't had good performances. I know did Fried go down with an injury at one point? I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, yeah.
He did. And I mean, he's done, I think, okay since coming back. I know he had like an 11 ERA, so I mean, it's not like he set the bar very high before he went down. Um, but yeah, that's been a concern. And anyway, the Mets have a 282 rotation ERA. I think that leads the majors. And you know what? I mean, obviously, of course, deGrom is going to contribute to that. He has more than anybody else. But I mean, his supporting cast has been pretty good. Taiwan Walker specifically, 220 ERA with a 290 FIP. That's pretty excellent. 8.6 strikeouts per nine. 3.5 walks per nine isn't great, but 0.22 home runs per nine. That's impressive. Marcus Stroman as well with less than 2 walks per nine and less than 0.7 home runs per nine. That's very nice for the FIP. Um, And then everything else is kind of, I mean, Joey Lucchesi and David Peterson have been awkwardly there. That's been about it for the Mets.
Yeah, Taijuan Walker could end up being like the steal of the offseason.
Absolutely. And he was like the last guy to go.
Yeah, we were talking about like
when in spring training. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, how the Blue Jays should have gone out and re-signed him, but it didn't end up going that way. He had a very good stint with them. I believe that's how it went down. But
being paid $10 million a year, and the Mets almost took Bauer ahead of him. And Bauer's, he's been having a fine year, but I mean, geez, Taijuan Walker, like no complaint with that.
Taijuan Walker costs about $30 million less.
Yeah, per year, and it's less years too.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been working out pretty well so far. Stroman's been doing pretty well to go with that, and I think like I feel like David Peterson's been pretty good too.
He's had high strikeout numbers, but he has a very high ERA. Like he's kind of been getting BABIP to death, so to speak.
I'm trying to look at that.
He does have like 11. He has like 11 strikeouts per 9, which is awesome. But I mean, good strikeouts doesn't always equal good pitching. He's a 4.63 FIP, but a 3.13 xFIP. And he's a pretty solid ground ball rate as well. So he's probably got a good SI ERA.
Yeah.
And the home run ball has been haunting him, a 1.73 home runs per 9. That's a lot.
So yeah, I guess he's been sort of the outlier in that.
He has been
in that rotation.
And like I said, his BABIP against is 323. That's like you can't assume that that's going to be sustainable. So I mean, I think he can even himself out and be a decent 5 option, which is I think what the Mets are expecting him to be.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how they have the best rotation ERA, but it seems like only like 3 guys are doing well. It's just that they're doing extremely well.
Exactly.
Like deGrom, Stroman, and Walker, and then the other two not quite with it. But yeah, that'll probably improve.
And I mean, I don't know what the status is on Syndergaard, but I mean, if you get him back in like July, August, maybe, I mean, that's looking pretty dangerous. For imagine a 4-game playoff series where you got deGrom, Syndergaard, Stroman, Walker.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And there's still no timetable on Carlos Carrasco, right?
No, I mean that's another one. I don't believe there is one. I can check the injury report right now. Let me do that to see what Taijuan Walker's looking or Carlos Carrasco is looking like. It says he's in the 60-day IL. So I mean he's not eligible for return until May 28th. Because he went on that IL pretty early before the season even started.
Yeah.
So if there's a timetable, I have no idea when we're going to see him. I'd say maybe it could be around the same time as Syndergaard.
Yeah, because that's been a real bummer for them. Like, because a big part of the Lindor deal was also that you got Carlos Carrasco, who's a great, middle to top of the rotation guy, and you haven't gotten any of that. And it's not like when they acquired him, there was a lingering issue that he had. It's just it popped up right when they got him. Kind of weird how that panned out. And
the offense as a whole has just been underperforming as well.
Yeah,
unfortunately, like it sucks. I was looking at JD Davis and I was like, oh wow, he's got a 200 weighted runs created plus. Like that's got to be my how about that? Well, he's on the IL right now, so that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I think Lindor's struggles have been publicized pretty well.
Yeah, of course.
Jeff McNeil, you expect more out of. He's got an OPS plus of 98, so he's been improving though.
He was getting very unlucky early on though. Like I remember after this means nothing, but after like 1 or 2 games, he had a zeros across the board slash line with a 739 xWOBA.
Yeah,
which was like 98th percentile.
Yeah, he was definitely getting unlucky. I gotta mute this group chat. It's it's been
What I mean, what are we talking
ding,
here?
just dinging. This is the Springfield student group chat.
Oh, I'm not a part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a text group chat. If it was the CUSJ gang of the class of 2023
It'd be
CUSJ gang,
Snapchat.
that's Snapchat, so there's no dinging on my laptop
Yeah.
for that. But yeah, Mets offense. Yeah, Dominic Smith has a 650 OPS. Yeah, I think the only guy that's been sort of up to par that's not on the IL right now was Pete Alonso.
He's got like a 130 OPS plus slash weighted.
130, 136,
Yeah.
and yeah, 835. Actual
But even then,
OPS.
like you should like I would expect more out of him. I mean, like people forget his last full season, he literally had 53 home runs.
Yeah, only 5 home runs so far in 31 games, which puts him at a pace for like I don't know 20. Uh, if I do five, yeah, they've played. Mets have played what 32 games thus far. They've played.
Yeah, because they've missed a few because they had the Nationals COVID situation.
They've
They
played.
had a rain out, they had a snow out in Colorado. They have missed
Yeah,
a lot
he's
of
he's
time.
he's on pace for 26, which is good, but nothing.
Here's a problem. Pete Alonso leads Mets position players with a .7 F4. That is 78th in baseball, or tied for whatever. Because obviously Mill. Oh no, I'm sorry. Brandon Nimmo is .8, which I mean still, the fact that you don't have a single person to one yet, or even that close. But Brandon Nimmo is also on the IL.
Yeah.
He's
Nimmo
coming.
and
He's coming off like this week.
Yeah, Nimmo and Davis have been their best offensive performers, but
And
they're
deGrom's up here with a 183 OPS or weighted runs created plus. He is the deGrom has the fourth highest offensive F4 on the team.
yeah,
I'm not
that's
kidding. It's Nimmo with .8, Alonso with .7, Davis with .7, and then deGrom with .4, and then Lindor with .3.
yeah.
Is oh my goodness,
What a
that's bad.
what an interesting way to be in first place.
Yeah,
Like, uh, what a crazy route. But
deGrom's
yeah,
actually with an 073 ISO as well, or 067 rather. His ISO is just barely worse than Francisco Lindor's. It's only 6 points lower. That's a problem.
huh,
And like that
right.
doesn't even really take into account like how well you're hitting the ball. It's just like, he's exclusively a singles hitter, and that Lindor seems to be the same right now. He's slugging 275.
Right. Yeah. But I guess we did the Mets did the whole Mets situation right there.
Yeah.
Um
We did more than that.
yeah. So now got to talk about a headline that came across. Jeff Passan said that the A's are exploring um, exploring new homes, like not just ballparks, but a new city to go to potentially.
And
Uh,
apparently Las Vegas would be the front runner.
Makes sense. I think the Golden Knights have been a success for them, and they're growing in the professional sports realm. So
Yeah, and I mean
yeah,
they just took another Oakland team a few years ago.
and the Raiders. So what are we thinking about the potential for the A's being out of Oakland?
I really, really hope this doesn't happen. I hope this is I hope this is a negotiation threat because Oakland has already seen the Warriors left for a different part of the city, the Raiders left, and now the A's are thinking about leaving. Like they might go from having 3 professional sports teams to having none. And those fans are legit. Like they're passionate, like they're proud and they show up. And I mean, obviously, it doesn't help that they play in a massive stadium, so it doesn't really look as filled as it actually is. When the games or when fans are at full capacity. They're such a storied franchise in Oakland, and this would be the third time that the franchise has moved. Kind of
Um,
that observation in my head, right? Because they went from Philly to Kansas City, from Kansas City to Oakland, and now from Oakland to somewhere else.
yeah, and they've been in Oakland since the '60s, I think.
Yeah,
So yeah, they've been in it for over 50 years. Um, yeah, and it's weird too because it's not even like a 1995 Mariner situation because like they've been good.
They've had
Like,
success. They're good right now. They've been to the playoffs the last 3 years.
yeah, exactly. And they're, right now they're leading the division. Just took two from the Red Sox. Yeah, like they're a successful team. They're doing very well. It's just for some reason they're, not able to get this new ballpark. And I guess it makes a little bit of sense
It does.
because
Like I don't blame them for not wanting to play in the Coliseum.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. That's just not meant for 2021 baseball. Uh yeah, they have to get a new ballpark, but like I don't know if it's sustainable in Oakland, depending on how many fans they're able to get in the stadium. Because
They're asking for
obviously,
they're asking for $12 billion. That's what they want to. That's how much they want to build it.
yeah, that
Like,
seems
I
like a
know. I
lot.
know now is right now is obviously a very tough time to be asking for that kind of money. Obviously, like as a nation, we've all just lost a lot of money recently. But I mean, the A's have been asking for this since long before the pandemic started. Like this has been a year-long project, like years of trying to get this under the belt. Like I remember 2017, hearing stories about the A's hoping for a new stadium, and there were blueprints that were out like around last year or so. Like the A's have been trying for a while, and it sucks. It really sounds like the city of Oakland isn't for it.
Yeah, uh,
And when I say that, I mean like the governors or the elites, or as you call it, like the fans, I'm sure would be willing for it.
yeah, it's weird. It would, if it ends up going the route that they're talking about it going, it'll definitely be the end of an era. And yeah, I guess it would leave baseball in the Bay Area completely to the Giants.
Yeah, I mean like at the very least there's another team there, but the A's are like, I mean, if they move to Las Vegas, like how do you propose they build a fan base there? Because there are so many teams right like somewhat near Las Vegas. And I'm just saying that because it's a front runner, but like I mean, how many people that are near Las Vegas have already adopted the Dodgers or the Padres or the Angels or the Diamondbacks? Like how do you really expect the A's to build a fan base in a new city?
Yeah, it's weird, but I mean, yeah, I think it's a lot different than hockey or football because especially with football, like Southern California didn't have much of a presence.
Exactly.
Uh
Not only that, but like at least the Raiders were big in California. So like they're
yeah.
like LA, like LA has a decent Raiders representation, which is I mean, I know that Las Vegas and LA are still like hours apart, but I mean those fans are dedicated and they'd go there.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, I don't know. Weird situation. Obviously it could be a negotiation tactic of
Hope it
them
is.
saying,
I hope that's all it is because I really do not want to see the Oakland A's move.
yeah, cuz like
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the city wants. Like, does the city want them to start trying to buy a championship? Because obviously the A's are notoriously, pretending to play poor, and that doesn't even count Moneyball. I mean, like, when was the last time the A's signed like a free agent to like a legit like multi-year deal?
yeah, there's really nothing, but we hope it's a negotiation tactic cuz yeah, like earlier, like this past off season, right, pretty much right before DJ LeMahieu signed with the Yankees for 6 years, he was talking about like his team was talking about exploring other options besides the Yankees. Hopefully it goes like that, but if not, it seems like it would probably be yeah Las Vegas. I think
Portland.
yeah the other like far fetched options is potentially like Nashville or something like that, but you probably would
They
want
moved
to
to
keep it in the
Nashville.
West.
That like if they move to Nashville, that messes up all the divisions.
Yeah, you'd probably have to move one of the central teams
The West,
west, which I don't even know what you would do
like the
there.
yeah, I don't know. That's why I think Las Vegas is like the favorite, just because they can at least they can stay in the AL West and have a legit presence there.
Yeah, Yeah, you would
It's like
you'd
the
be able to do
Cowboys
that.
being in the NFC East. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Right, yeah. um well, yeah, I guess that's the A's situation.
Hmm.
We talked about the Mets and one of their former prospects is going to be making his debut tonight along with my my 2020 Mariners player to watch, Logan Gilbert.
Yep.
He's finally coming up and they're both going to be debuting on the same night, position player and pitcher, against the Dodgers. So they have a bit of a tough matchup. I don't know who's pitching for the Dodgers, but gonna be
No, they're
play
facing
with.
the Indians. They're facing the Indians.
Oh yeah. Oh, I guess
They
yeah.
had
They
a
had
they
it.
had a 2-game set against the Dodgers.
Yeah. So they're okay. So they're facing Cleveland.
They're facing Zach tonight at home. It's a 10-10 start on the East Coast. Jared
Oh,
Kelenic so far, he's only played a few games in the minors, but he's slashing 370, 414, 630 with a 153 weighted runs created plus. So, I mean, in the 6 games that he's played, he's obviously been doing what he's supposed to do.
yep.
So that's exciting.
Yeah, and I think his last full season in the minors, his OPS was like in the 900s. Um, Logan Gilbert, when I pointed him out before 2020, I think his ERA was in the mid twos, and his strikeouts per nine was above 11. So something to look forward to. But I think Gilbert was in the top 40 MLB prospects, and Kelnick was
Number 3 overall, I think. Number 4 overall.
yeah, top 5 for sure.
This is the biggest prospect to have debuted in 2021 thus far, no doubt.
Yes, that is true. As Wander Franco, Adley Rushman, and Julio Rodriguez have yet to make debuts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, um, so yeah, any thoughts on what could potentially happen with
Oh,
these two guys?
I know that there's usually like big name it's not uncommon for big name prospects to come up and have some very visible growing pains in the majors. Like, I mean, remember in 2016, Yohan Moncada struck out, or he came up and struck out like 14 times in a row or something crazy like that. Joe Adell last year was an example of that. So it's very possible that Jared Kelnick could, struggle in these games. And if that happens, obviously don't freak out. It takes time for a lot of these guys. Same thing with Logan Gilbert. If he's walking a lot of guys tonight, I'm sure the strikeouts will be there just because, strikeouts are very common, but I'd say control is the biggest thing to watch for on his part tonight. But if it goes the flip side and they're both contributing early, the Mariners are like in the mix right now. I mean, they're 4.5 games out of the division. They've lost 4 in a row. So like they were much closer to being in it a couple of weeks ago, but they can climb back into it. And I mean, this could become a team to watch when some of these guys start coming up. Like Tramel's up right now. His strikeout rate's been very bad, but if he can get that under control, if Kelnick can start producing, if Gilbert can start producing, like this is a team that should be watched and taken seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because they're about 500. They're not far from the A's in the standings just yet. And if they do well and they, make the Mariners competitive, it also kind of increases the chances of possibly seeing Julio Rodriguez this year. If they are in a competitive situation, it kind of pressures the front office to maybe bring that guy up. And he's, obviously right up there with Kelnick in the prospect ranking. So that would be very exciting as well. And yeah, I think Gilbert is kind of set up well facing Cleveland tonight. Even though Cleveland is in a winning streak, uh, they're not the most offensive driven team, so he might be able to have some success tonight. And yeah, it's pretty interesting how it could go down. We'll see. We'll see how it happens. Anything more on these two?
Not on these two, but just on the Mariners. Ty France has fallen straight off a cliff since I talked about him on How About That. He
Yeah,
was hitting like 320 with a high nines OPS, and now he's got a 234 average and a 711 OPS. And I think he has like a -1 OPS, like a weighted runs created plus in the month of May.
yeah, we do kind of risk it when we, try to find
Well,
these
we're gonna keep doing it anyway.
when we find these under the radar type guys
That's the
who,
risk we take because like they are still under the radar guys, and they are just as capable as doing what Ty France has done as they are
yeah,
with continuing it. Some guys just have hot starts, and we like to highlight those
yeah,
because us was talking about Ty France.
yeah, like, we're not gonna be like, hey, did you guys hear Mike Trout's doing very well this year?
Yeah,
Don't know if you heard about it.
there's this guy. His name is Ronald Acuna Jr. He
Yeah,
plays for the Braves. He's an outfielder. He's been doing awesome this year. He actually just hit a leadoff home run in his game today against the Blue Jays. This OPS is actually it's now up to 1065 with a 307 average. Yeah, take a look on this guy if you can.
yeah, and he's actually only what, 23, 24 years old. I
He's
mean,
very young.
this guy's gonna like be
Yeah.
he's part of the future.
I mean, speaking of the Braves and Blue Jays game, the guy batting for the Blue Jays right now, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I don't know if you've heard of Vladimir Guerrero, but this is actually his son. He
Yeah,
was a Hall of Famer back with the Expos when they were around, and now with the Angels and the Rangers and the Orioles. Funny thing, I mean, Vlad Guerrero, he played for the Expos, and Vlad Jr. is playing for the Blue Jays right now. I mean, they're both. He was born in Canada. I mean, it's just classic. It's just classic, and he's hitting 309 with a 990 OPS this year, 8 home runs. He actually had a 3 home run game in Dunedin for the Blue Jays. I mean, it's unbelievable what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is doing, and no one's talking about it too.
yeah, like, it's pretty wild. I don't know if you guys heard, but he hit 400 in the minors.
Yeah.
He was, and he was only like 19 years old when he did that. It was pretty crazy.
If
Um,
you're looking for some Midwest baseball tonight, the starting pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, Corbin Burns.
yeah,
He's
he's the
coming
best
off.
he's the best pitcher you've never heard of.
Yeah. Shout out Giraffe Neck Mark. He's got a 1.53 ERA. He is 40 plus strikeouts and no walks.
Yeah,
How about that? I mean, no one's talking about that.
yeah, it's
just
pretty
crazy.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my how about that is the guy that actually he's going on the IL. It's Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, let's just talk about how great. I mean, yeah.
This guy
I
had
love do that.
This guy had 8 shutout innings last night. Garrett Cole shut down the Rays. Pretty wild. Yankees finally, found a guy. Picked him up on the free agent market back before the 2020 season. What a steal!
Yeah, I mean, only 9 years and $324 million.
Yeah.
Cubs have this guy. His name is Chris Bryant. He's got a 180 weighted runs created plus this year. And
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy that he stayed around in the minors for a little bit longer than people think he should have. And I mean, look at him now. He's got a 2 WAR. He's got a 2 F4 through 34 games played. I mean, that's just incredible.
Yeah, people. He actually had this play. It was in extra innings in a 2016 playoff game. People remember that play where he took the ground ball and he threw it to first, and everyone was
awesome.
really excited.
It was the most exciting ground ball to third base you've ever seen.
Yes,
And I mean that.
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a preview for our how about that. So yeah, actually now we should get into the Thursday, May 13th edition of. So what player do you have to highlight today?
This is actually very awkward because my how about that actually leads the National League in OPS this season. But even still, he's really not talked about as much as the guys right with him on those lists. Jesse Winker is my how about that. Since September 18th, 2020, he is sandwiched between Mike Trout and Bryce Harper in weighted runs created plus with 187. Trout has 195. He's first. Winker has 187. He is second, and Bryce Harper has 180, and he is third since this date. And in that span, he is slashing a 348, 427, 652 with a 1078 OPS. Both his slugging percentage and the OPS lead the majors. He also leads the majors in that time in WOBA with a 457, and he's been doing the damn thing this year. He's got an 1101 OPS. That is, and the lowest his OPS has been after any game this season has been a 936. So Jesse Winker has been lighting it up. He's been one of the best hitters in the league. And I mean, he's not getting, like, he's right there with Trout and Harper, and he's not getting Trout and Harper recognition.
Right. Yeah, he's been doing extremely well. He had a very good season last year as well.
Yeah, he did.
Very, very good offensive contributor. A guy I'm talking about, he's a high profile name, but had a rough year last year going into free agency after this year. You mentioned him as one of the cliche guys, Chris Bryant. Just because I feel like he hasn't been talked about that much this year. He's third in FWAR in Major League Baseball this year, and he's just been very consistent. He hasn't had like a crazy hot streak like Acuna Jr. has, or another potential like Nick Solak has. Chris Bryant has just been very consistent and sneakily leading the National League in OPS plus this year with a 191. Also leads the MLB in doubles with 14 and extra base hits with 23 this year. And his slugging on fastballs and breaking pitches has never been better in a season. In both realms, he's never had a better slugging percentage on fastballs and breaking pitches in a season. So, not a deep dig this week, but I felt
I just made you look like such a hypocrite.
That
was awkward. We've never picked the same player for How About That or Slightly Alarming, but that might be the closest we've ever gotten.
Yeah, because he's just he's just been going about his thing and doing very well.
I was expecting you to pick JT Realmuto.
Yeah, I mean
he's fourth and he's a catcher.
Yeah, another high profile type guy. I think Fangraphs wins above replacement is
he's fourth.
He does, but like they represent catchers a little better than Baseball Reference wins above replacement. But yeah, Chris Bryant is getting my. How about that? So now we go from the highs to the lows, talking about players who are not doing so hot. This is our May 13th, 2021 edition of Slightly Alarming. So who do you have to highlight for the wrong reasons?
Imagine if we did Slightly Alarming, like the cliche ones as well. Like I'm talking about Chris Davis this week from the Orioles.
Yeah.
I don't know who would be like those cliche guys. Like right now, I mean, I don't want to jinx you again, so I'm just gonna shut up. Actually,
if it was 20, if it was 2019, it's like we're talking about Jacoby Ellsbury. He hasn't played a game since 2017.
We're talking about
three years left on his deal.
Yeah. Anyway, my Slightly Alarming is Albert Pujols.
Yeah, I was about to. Yeah.
I'm looking at Miguel Cabrera this week. He hasn't been very good.
And the Tigers are paying him $30 million this year. I mean, wow. They still have 4 years left on that deal. Yeah.
Actually, Miguel Cabrera would be a how about that, because he just last night he broke the hits record for Venezuelan-born players, and he also just passed Babe Ruth on the hit list.
Yeah, and we were big fans of him getting the Venezuelan record because he passed the one and only Omar Vizquel.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Get that guy out of there. And he had 2,877 hits.
Yeah, most by a Venezuelan-born player. Nope, not anymore. Nope.
Get that out of there.
Yep. Thank God. Who's your Slightly Alarming?
My Slightly Alarming is a guy who hasn't been particularly bad. I mean, considering his expectations, he isn't great, but like just on a service level, he's been, I guess, serviceable. But it's Blake Snell. So he has not been nearly as deceptive as he normally is in 2021. He has 34 and a third innings pitched. I actually look at this. I don't think he qualifies for rate stats, and it's not that he's missed time. It's just that he doesn't go deep into games.
Yeah, I don't want to dive too deep into it, but we talked about how like, oh, now he's not with Kevin Cash. Maybe he's going to get more innings this year, and I guess that's not the case.
Not particularly. That's been an issue. But what I'm talking about is his walks in particular. He is 34 and a third innings pitched and 24 walks, and he is the first player in baseball history with 30 less than 35 innings pitched and 20 plus walks in any 8-game sample to start a stint with a franchise. So that's been a massive issue for Blake Snell. That is slightly alarming. And his walk rate in general has gone from the 46th percentile in 2020 to the 9th percentile in 2021. He's not throwing as many strikes, and I think that's definitely has a huge correlation with not going deep into games.
Yeah, definitely. If you're pitch count, or if you're walking a lot of guys, that means you're probably having long at bats or long.
Just to give you an idea, he pitched yesterday in the second end of the doubleheader against the Rockies. He went 4 innings and had 84 pitches.
Yeah, not the best.
That's not good.
Ideally, you want to have like somewhere around 15 pitches per inning. If you have more than 20, that's trouble.
And for 4 innings too. Yeah, he does not qualify for rate stats because he does at least have a 12.84 strikeouts per 9. I mean, call him Blake Ray, if you will.
Yeah, that's true.
Except, I mean, I don't mean to make this about my my recurring player to watch in the entire world, but Robbie Ray's been doing the damn thing.
Yeah, it's
1 walk in his last 4 outings. I mean, he is truly following the 93 Randy Johnson arc.
Yeah, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but
I did.
But yeah, Robbie Ray. We've compared like Robbie Ray versus Randy Johnson through his age 28 season, and it was like scarily similar.
Yeah, and Randy Johnson's 29 season was the first great season he had, and that's where Robbie Ray is now. So I mean, if he's gonna follow Randy Johnson's career arc, he's gonna have to show something this year, and he's been doing it pretty well in his last 4 outings. His FIP isn't great, but I think it's been much better through his last few starts.
Yeah, like Randy Johnson in 93, it wasn't one of his like Cy Young seasons, but it was his first season where he was getting Cy Young consideration. I think he finished 3rd that year.
Robbie Ray's only issue right now is the home run ball. He's been giving up a lot of those, but I mean, who isn't? But yeah, the walks have been very, very much improved on, which I'm extremely happy about.
Yep. Yeah, it's day and night with Robbie Ray. So we'll see how that goes for the rest of the year.
And also, he's like Blake Snell's like a reverse Ray because he went from the AL East to the NL West, which is Robbie Ray did vice versa.
Wow, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
But my slightly alarming is on the Blue Jays, a teammate of Robbie Ray's. He was also my player to watch, and I think he was listed as one of your players to watch. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. I was talking about how underrated he was as a Blue Jays offensive contributor, but this year just hasn't been getting it going. He's hitting 193 with a 493 OPS, and he has the second lowest qualifying OPS in the MLB. This is a guy who was consistently like in the mid 800s OPS wise, and now it's below 500 at the moment. And his line drive percentage has gone from 36.4% to 21.3%. And that's I would call that
slightly alarming.
So, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., he's gonna have to pick it up in the coming weeks in order to get the Blue Jays lineup going. But yeah, that is slightly alarming. Those were our players to highlight in general. And on to a preview of the weekend ahead. What is on your docket in the upcoming weekend?
Well, I'm actually about to look right now. What do we got starting tonight? We got a lot of series finishing up. I'll just look over here. What am I looking at? It's an excellent question, Chris.
I think there's a decent series with the Padres and Cardinals.
I was just looking at that. You know
Yeah.
what? What? I'm gonna look at Marlins Dodgers. Just because I love the pitching matchup on Friday. Sandy Alcantara versus Clayton Kershaw. Their ERAs are only separated by 10 points. That's pretty awesome. And then on Saturday, you got TBD versus Bauer. And on Sunday, I'm assuming you also have, you have Pablo Lopez versus Walker Buehler. Some good pitching matchups there, even with the Marlins not knowing who they're going with. Unfortunately, it's not Trevor Rogers because he pitches today in Arizona. But I'm looking at Marlins Dodgers. Who would have thought I was looking at that at any point ever?
Yeah, I mean they got some of the best pitchers, but unfortunately we haven't seen Sixto Sanchez in action yet.
We have not, but I mean, that team's interesting. They're very intriguing for sure.
Yeah, definitely like not a team you want to mess with. They're not they're not a doormat as they once were.
They have the best run differential in the division, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Uh oddly true. Oddly a fact. With Padres Cardinals, it's two teams. The Cardinals are at the top of their division. The Padres are in second place, and they are only 2 games back of the Giants. Two pretty talented teams. You have some pretty good talent, like Machado versus Arenado at third base. Unfortunately, with the Padres, some of their players are out with like COVID related stuff, whether they're being contact traced or they actually tested positive. I think Tatis Jr. tested positive.
Yeah, Will Myers tested positive. Eric Hosmer tested positive.
Yeah, they all tested positive. So unfortunately, they're out a couple weeks. But you have Musgrove versus Oviedo, and then on Saturday you have Chris Paddock versus Adam Wainwright, and on Sunday you have Ryan Weathers versus Wang Yong Kim. And, you wonder if the Cardinals are going to take advantage of the fact that the Padres have some key position players missing. But we will see about it. So that's my preview.
What's the Sunday night game this week? It's Cardinals Padres. Fantastic. That's interesting. I'm glad that it's like
the MLB.TV free game of the week.
No, the Sunday night game.
Oh, the Sunday night game.
Is it just me, or do they always do like the same like 5 teams? Doesn't it seem like that?
Sunday night. Oh yeah, of course.
Like it's been Braves Phillies like 2 or 3 times. Like the Phillies have been on it so many times.
Yeah, it's it's obviously gonna be the most marketable teams. Like even though the Oakland Athletics are good, you never see them on Sunday Night Baseball.
Exactly. Unless they're like away somewhere, they never go to Oakland.
Yeah, never.
Like if it's A's Yankees, then like maybe, but it is. I wish they would do the best teams and market the whole league. Because like every player can be marketed in their own way. There is so much information available to fans. There is always something interesting about every player.
Yep.
Especially now that they have the StatCast broadcasts. I don't know if you've been watching those, Chris, but they're fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like every play, like you can find something cool on every single person on the field. Like
yeah,
I'm cool with Cardinals Padres this week, but then you have Cubs Cardinals on May 23rd in St. Louis. Like that rivalry's dead, and the Cubs aren't that good.
Yeah.
Like same, in the same breath, you have Dodgers Giants. Like that's a much better series to watch. The Giants have been doing amazing, and the Dodgers are the Dodgers.
Yeah. Dodgers Giants is good, but I guess I wouldn't have predicted it would have been that competitive.
They shouldn't
before the
next
season
going
started.
forward. Like I know that I'm not gonna have any say, but they shouldn't decide like the entire Sunday night schedule through the season. Like they should wait like a month in advance for each one.
Yeah, they will flex games at some points.
Yeah.
Because I remember I I planned in 2016 we planned on going to one Sunday game in August, like pretty far out, and it was a day game, and then it ended up being a night game.
Right.
But like it just kind of goes unnoticed because you
What was
don't
the
you
game?
don't really look that far ahead. It was a Red Sox Royals.
Oh, I
It
remember
ended
that
up,
game.
yeah. I remember Ortiz hit a
Royals-
home run.
The Royals scored a bunch of runs in one inning.
Yeah, it was 10-4 Royals. And Yordano Ventura pitched that game. I think it was against Clay Buchholz.
What a matchup.
Yeah, what a matchup. Yeah, no, they'll always have like an odd amount of NL East games, it seems.
Yeah, it is. Like Braves, Phillies, Mets, Braves.
Obviously, they have like 3 or 4 Red Sox Yankees games, which is not always relevant.
No. Like that's not even like they like Rays Yankees would be more relevant right now.
For sure.
They're like, yeah, no, Tropicana Field, no thanks. Like, you know the meme where it's like do this or draw 25 and it shows the person with like a million Uno cards. For ESPN,
Yeah.
go to Tropicana Field or draw the whole damn deck.
Yeah.
They do it.
Yeah, it's but you know, it's national television, so
Yeah.
they'll always appease to the big markets.
Yep.
And the quote unquote rivalries. Cause like I remember, yeah, the first opening night of 2020, it was, you know, Nationals Yankees, and it was like that was exciting because it was Cole versus Scherzer. But then it was Dodgers Giants.
When the Giants are like, oh, they have Mike Yastrzemski and that's it.
Yeah.
And then Donovan Solano just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, before they were kind of established as a sneaky team, it was just a bunch of old guys, it seemed. Yeah. And
Aaron Ruff was hitting like 4th in that game.
Right, yeah. No one was excited. And yeah, Dodgers ended up winning that game like 8-1.
Yep.
It was tough. But yeah, that does it for this week's edition of Above Replacement Radio. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and want to watch the conversation as it happens or go to our playlist, go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. Also, follow us on social media. Follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran. And follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio. And we hope you enjoyed this one. And we hope to see you on Monday, where we're going to be recapping all the happenings of the MLB weekend. And we will see you then.
This conversation is over.